IGNs. Everyone has one, otherwise you can't exist in a video game because, I mean, you gotta be identified somehow, right? Well, this is the story and history of my previous usernames, but mostly the current one because, I mean, that's the most unique one. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Fridge, didn't you already make this video? And, no, I have no idea what you're talking about whatsoever. This is the first time I've ever done it because people keep asking on my live streams. Yeah, I think you probably just have deja vu or something like that. Okay, I lied. I did make the video, but this is gonna be the story of how I got my username remastered, expanded, digital deluxe edition, or something. Now, if you did see the old video, I gotta say, this is an expanded story instead of just like a little half story I told you that I'd also repeat on all my live streams. So, you're gonna learn some new stuff, some shocking twists and turns. Prepare yourself emotionally for the plot twist. It's gonna be big. Alright, you ready? Here we go. So first username was actually the first username I ever had at all ever. Minecraft's the first game I played that required one. Now I got Minecraft when I was like 8 or 9. I honestly can't remember. It gets fuzzy back there. But my first username was Bumblebee98765. Now, Bumblebee is not the bug. I hate bees. I mean, they're great for nature, but, like, I just have an intense fear of flying bugs. But, so this is after the Transformer Bumblebee, because I was big into Transformers back in the day. So, and, you know, obviously Bumblebee was taken, so naturally, you slap a bunch of numbers on the end, as you do. Second username is DemonEye_fun. Now, that one is a little slightly more unique than Bumblebee. Some might confuse it for being an edgy name, and that's not the point. I mean, first off, it's got fun at the end. What kind of edgy name has fun at the end? Second, DemonEye is an enemy in Terraria, which one of my favorite games of all time. By the way, I've been streaming Terraria live on this channel, so if you want to see those, then subscribe, and if you're already subscribed, turn on notifications. Moving on, now to my current username, the one you've all been waiting for, Broken Mini Fridge. How the heck did I come up with this genius and iconic name? Well, let me start 5 years ago. So, me and my family were moving houses, moving out, and the new house is bigger, but certain things didn't have like the right amount of room for like stuff that it would have in our old house. For example, we had a futon in the basement of our old house, and it didn't fit. I guess it technically fit in the basement of this new house, but this new house is like your stereotypical concrete walls basement, not like the old one where you could mistake it for the living room. So I asked my parents jokingly if I could have it, and they're like, you know, sure, why not? I mean, the room in this house is bigger than the living room in my old house, so it fits in here easily. Now, another thing that didn't fit somewhere in this new house was my parents' mini fridge that they had in their old house room. Now, I also asked them if I could have that, since for some reason they actually let me have the futon. And they're also like, you know, sure, why not? And I would make the joke of like, oh, now I don't have to leave my room, I can just eat food out of the fridge. And you'd think, but unfortunately, when I plugged it in at the new house, it didn't turn on. Like, at all. It didn't work. And it was a bit disappointing, because dang, now I have to like actually leave my room for food. But yeah, so relatively soon after moved into the new house, getting all settled, I felt I had outgrown the DemonEye_fun moniker, so I decided it was time for a switch up. And I had no ideas for a username whatsoever, so I was thinking, now what kind of name, how should I get it? And for some reason, the episode of regular show, I think it's just called Trash Boat, where Rigby legally changes his name to Trash Boat by looking around at random stuff in his room and named himself after like the first two things he saw. It's like, I wonder if I could do that and actually not have something terrible. So I was looking around. It's like ceiling fan, no, that's terrible. Futon, no. Mini fridge, I don't want people calling me mini, that's weird. I'm sensitive about it. But it was still broken. So I was like, wait, broken mini fridge. Maybe people would be more likely to call me broken, maybe fridge, and I'm like, boom. So I did that. It was weird for a minute or so, but I think it kind of rolls off the tongue, don't you think? Broken mini fridge. Now that's where the story usually ends whenever I explain it. But there's more to it. You see, there was, get ready for it, a second mini fridge. So yeah, when I initially plugged in the mini fridge and it didn't work, I told my parents and like, oh dang, don't worry, we'll get you a new one. And then it was like a couple months later, I believe. I mean, and it was enough time for me to just have a not working mini fridge in my room and then name myself after it. But eventually, they gave me a new one. But it wasn't a new one, because they got it from a garage sale. And let me tell you, this thing it smelled funky. Like, it was not good. You open it, it's like, what was kept in here? I hope it wasn't people. It was just not a good smell. And I kept the old mini fridge in my room, not the new old one, the old one that I named myself after. Now one day, I was just bored, and I was staring at the mini fridge. I was like, man, I wonder if there's some way I could make this to work. And I was like, maybe, since this house is weirdly jank and its wiring is just completely dumb, maybe that outlet just doesn't work, or it's not strong enough to power the fridge. So I moved it across my entire room, which, like I said, is bigger than your average living room, and then I plugged it into a different outlet, and it turned on. Now I know, you're shocked, you feel lied to and cheated, and I'm sorry, but yeah, it turned on. I lied. But here's the thing, I just double lied to you, because now it's just broken in a different way. You see, the thing about this fridge is, it kinda got, like, tossed around when we're moving houses, like in the back of a moving truck, so it still doesn't work like it's supposed to. See, this fridge has a temperature setting on the inside of it, so you can change, like, how cold you want it. And for some reason, in order for the freezer part, where there's a little freezer on the top, to actually be below freezing, you need to turn the temperature setting all the way to max. And that also affects just the normal fridge part. So, in order to use it, you need to have the normal fridge part as cold as it can be, and when the normal fridge part is that cold, it freezes stuff. It's below freezing, so it can't put water in it. Well, I can, but it's gonna freeze, and I just have like slushy water or something, which, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's inconvenient if I'm like incredibly thirsty or something. Yeah, it's still broken. Now I know you could be like, well, just don't use the freezer part, just use the fridge part. But you see, the thing is, I turn it down from, like, I think the max is 5, I turn it down to 4, and like the freezer part no longer works. And you know how freezers, like, if you use it long enough, it like starts having ice form on the walls and stuff? It's got that going on. And like, I found out the hard way that it would melt if I turned it down once, and guess what happened? There was a lake inside the freezer part of the fridge. So now, like, I turned it back on, and there's just a whole bunch of ice in there. So if I turn it down, it's gonna, like, leak out of the fridge, and then it's gonna cause a big mess. So I think it's just safer to just deal with the freezing stuff. So yeah, the fridge is still broken, but I can actually use it. Now if you made it to the end, very cool. If you could hit the like button, that'd be greatly appreciated, because then it tells the YouTube algorithm that you liked my video and it'll show it to more people. And if you've also made it to the end and you're not subscribed, what the heck are you doing? You clearly love me. Just hit the red button. It'll only take a second. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you whenever I see you. Goodbye.